Welcome to the Just Boosted podcast. I'm your host, Jake, and today we are going to be going over the Season 1 Extended Edition of Psycho Pass. It is a really good show. We are excited to dive into the plot and the world building and how the show is kind of crazy. And today I'm joined one-on-one with Brandon.
What's up, guys? I'm excited to talk about this show. I thought it was really well done. We actually watched it in different audio versions, right? I watched it I watched it sub, and you watched it dub.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And I think it came out, 13 years ago now? 14 years ago? It came out 2011?
2016.
Okay. That's the extended edition, though, you think?
I know this is just the base first season.
Oh, it is. Okay. I thought I was looking on the Wikipedia and it said 2011 or something. But maybe that was like the manga or something?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I should have probably had that. It's all good. But yeah, so if you guys have not seen the show, of course, go watch it first. We're going to be going into a deep dive, so there's going to be spoilers. The show actually is really good. It's a really cool sci-fi that kind of, goes into what science and what an advanced society could look like. Kind of like Cyberpunk, but a different twist on it, which I really like. I kind of like this a lot. So there's a lot of crazy shit we could talk about. So we're just going to start from the beginning. Season, episode 1 kind of starts off with the guy grabbing the girl. Actually, wait, hold up, full pause. You already know it's the Just Boost podcast. If you're wondering why we haven't done our carbonated water review, we're doing a different carbonated beverage this time. You got to extend your horizons. We got Bucks, right? No, Barq's. Yeah. Barq's root beer. Of course, it has to be zero sugar because of me. Let's crack these open. I've already had this, but I had to have Brandon try it. Brandon's the root beer guy.
Very diety taste.
Really?
Yeah. Like a Diet Coke or Pepsi or something.
When I don't know, to me it just tastes like regular Barq's.
I think you're just used to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like that at all.
Not really. How far is it from the original?
To me, how far Diet Coke is from Coke. It's a big difference.
Well, in Ren Link, they gave it a 6 out of 10 for Diet Coke.
And what did they give Coke?
Well, it's a 6 out of 10 in comparison to Coke.
Oh, yeah, I'd say 5 out of 10.
To me, this is an 8 out of 10.
That's funny. You're just used to the diet taste, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like
taste.
Diet always kind of has a similar, aftertaste.
Yeah.
The aspartame or whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
Yeah, this one has aspartame.
It's a Coke. So Barq's is the Coke one, and then Mug is the Pepsi one. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, I would drink it if the regular version wasn't available. Yeah. So I'd give it a 5.
Wow.
Probably out of 10.
5. I'm giving this a 9. I love this.
Wow.
I've had the A&W Zero Sugar, and it was good, but this one was I felt like a whole new level for me.
It's surprising.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I'd rather be drinking the regular version.
Okay, carbonated hour done. Back into the show. Bloop bloop. So episode 1, it has the killer that takes, that female hostage. And I think the first episode does a really good job at portraying what the show is going to be, because it already shows the system is flawed. Because the woman that was captured, she's now going to be a latent criminal because she got too fucked up from that happening.
Right. It's you're punished for being the victim of a traumatic event. It's victim blaming almost. It's your fault that you're now this way. Instead of, they do have the idea of therapy or whatever but it's forced, right? And it's I feel a big proponent of actual therapy is you need to have self reflection or self-admittance to you have a problem, where it's and this is just you're into therapy whether you like it or not. And they have maybe I'm getting too far ahead, but they have, what's his name, Kagari, who's one of the enforcers, and he was from like 3 years old or something, you learn about his story. He was put into forced therapy or whatever. So it's like he didn't even get a chance, to like be a functioning member of society just because of the way the Cybele system works. I don't know if you want to like explain any of that stuff or just assume they know.
First, before that, it's already funny because you watch the sub and I watch the dub because they pronounce things very different things. You're saying Cybele, they say Sybil.
Oh, really?
It's the Cybele system is how they say it.
That's funny.
And then you're saying, how do you say? I say Kagari.
Kagari, yeah.
Or no, they're saying Kagari.
Yeah.
They're saying it different how you say
Well,
it.
yeah, they say like Kogami.
Yeah.
Shinya Kogami. And
that one's right now.
Yeah, they just, I don't know. They
Ginoza, Akane.
Yeah, they say Akane, I think.
Yeah.
They pronounce it different. Yeah, it's just how the different
it's just
voice
funny.
acting. Yeah. I mean, I kind of like watching it in the original
sub, yeah.
Yeah. And there's no like rhyme or reason. I don't know. Did you think the dub was any good?
I watched the sub. Yeah, the extended edition's only in sub. Why was I thinking I watched the dub?
You just always watch dubs, so you assumed you did.
I'm just always so into dub. I think because I originally watched the first few episodes of the show, and then I never watched it again.
Yeah.
And I think that is before I watched the extended edition, because the extended edition's only in sub.
So you're just gaslighting everybody into thinking there's a
dub of it.
Dub. Yeah, that's funny.
In my head, there was.
No, there is a dub because I was looking at the Wikipedia and it says there's dub, English actors. But maybe that's not for the extended edition.
Yeah, so the extended edition sub and then
the
season 1 dub sub.
Okay. So we watched the extended edition.
Yeah, which I'm honestly not sure. Like, there was a few moments in the show where I realized, I'm like, oh, this feels like an extended area. Like, where it was just like 2 minutes of like just like a screen, and then it was like characters talking in the background about like I think it was like showing all the characters talking about Kogami, and I'm like, oh, this is something I could easily see that would be cut from the original to make it go faster.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, the Cybele system. We'll just kind of do our deep dive in it. So yeah, the Cybele system is pretty much like the law enforcement and the overseers of the entire public. They determine your job, they determine your mental health based off of literally like scanning your brain, and then they're able to tell like how messed up you are in the head. And if you go like I think above like a 150 psychopaths, your brain is like permanently altered once it hits that point, and then you're seen as a latent criminal forever. It will never go back. So yeah, the people that are the detectives, Kogami gets turned into one because he was, hunting down Makishima eventually. And to be a good detective, you have to think like a criminal, and if you think like a criminal, you're a criminal for them. Like, that's just how it is. It's like, that's kind of cool, because in the real world, like, you've always heard detectives kind of walk that line almost, like, great detectives. So, like, some shows they like,
and then they become like alcoholics or something to cope.
Yeah, like everyone has a fucked up life, it seems like, that are detectives.
Yeah, I think also too, the Cybele system tries to like prevent future crime. It's like crime prevention. So it's like my favorite Marvel movie, Captain America: Winter Soldier. Like, the antagonist of that is like this old Nazi who gets like, he puts his brain into a computer, which similar to what happens here kind of, and he like creates this system where they look at, they read somebody's brain waves or whatever and predicts whether they're going to be a criminal.
Yeah.
So this that's the same premise here as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, I really liked, episode 1 was a great introduction, and then the next villain that they go into is the one that's like in that factory where it's that guy killing other workers with
because they were making fun of him, like he was being bullied or whatever.
Which is insane too, because they talked about how when everyone in that society has someone that they can bully, it's better for the whole. Like, it like allows which is insane. It's like that's how they're thinking of society. It's like, it's just about the whole. Like, the individual does not matter. So it's like, yeah, that guy's gonna have a clouded psychopath, and he probably will become a latent criminal and then shipped off to therapy. Then he'll just be replaced by a new guy that's gonna get bullied because it keeps everyone else healthy, which is just insane.
Right.
How that is too.
Yeah, it's like all about like power, I guess. When you have power over somebody, you feel like you have control of your life or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the second villain or whatever, that drone facility, we talked about it, but how it's not, you know, governed by the Cybele system, right?
Yeah. Old fashioned.
Right. And that's kind of like so that they weren't able to read the cues of the guy who became the murderer, which is kind of like the classic, like, I don't know, school shooter, I guess, if you want to call it that, where the person's bullied and they come back and kill their bullies kind of thing.
Yeah.
How that's kind of like a foreshadow of, well, in the drone facility, it wasn't overseen by the Cybele system, so that guy could do what he wanted to do, but who's to say that can't happen in places where there is Cybele system oversight? And that's, you know, what happens with Makishima and stuff in later episodes.
Yeah.
So then episode 3, or I don't know if it's episode 3, but the next main plot point is the Akane, who's like the main character essentially.
Yeah.
Her and Kogami. She's like seeking advice on understanding Kogami because they've kind of been butting heads a little bit, because Kogami's like the pessimist, right? Because he used to be a detective like Akane.
Yeah.
But, you know, he saw his enforcer get effed up by, you know, an effed up serial killer, right? And it broke him essentially.
Yeah.
So he's more of a pessimist in that, you know, he kind of just, the Cybele system says what it says, I'm just gonna do what it needs to be done. Like, he was gonna, in the first episode, he was gonna kill that one girl who was the victim, right? Just because that's what the Cybele system says you should do, but Akane was like, well, that's just not right, you know? And so they've been butting heads, and she was like going online to talk, and it's kind of weird, the little online part of it, because it's kind of like, I mean, it's not too dissimilar to today, where it's like online chat boards or whatever, where people like can be anonymous and talk about the things they have problems with. But this one, it's like VR chat almost.
Yeah, it's like what future. That's what's crazy with the show. There's like multiple times where it's like they show the high tech society, and you really only get a glimpse of it. Mm-hmm. So like that VR world is like, a lot of people probably after work, you know, it's more of an isolated society. So that's what people do after work, is they go on that and they, you know, portray like the VR life. And like we barely saw like Akane. I think in episode 2 it starts with her in her house, and how it can like, the hologram can change her house.
Right.
It makes her breakfast instantly from like what you find out later in the show, which is just those oats that they've produced
Super
to be able to
whatever.
taste like anything and have the texture of anything, which is like, is that something you'd want? Maybe.
Right. Does that make you healthy?
Right. Yeah.
Is it giving you the nutrients to like, I don't know, and maybe it's reading too far into it, but like, if the Cybele system, like, did it come up with like an algorithm to like be like, give them only these nutrients so that their brain isn't functioning at the highest level, so that they don't resist, kind of thing?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's, you kind of are like, already see societies do that. Like, they don't necessarily want their humans to be the smartest possible, because they're more, you know, they're less controllable the smarter a person is.
Right. And in that online world, you see Makishima is like, there's these very popular avatars which people listen to and go to advice for, and he's deliberately taking over those avatars to like influence people, which isn't too dissimilar, I think, from, you know, propaganda stuff that can happen today, right? So it's, I mean, you can see the, you know, the similarities, which is, you know, well done, for sure, in the show.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts about it.
Yeah, so it kind of like sucks you only get like those 2 episodes, you know, into like that VR world. But I think it was cool, like seeing how, you know, like the characters like go in person and they like, kind of like flop trying to like find him I think was it Kagari that like was like no, I can't remember, like where they went in person. Because like it was like the VR chat, but then they had the in-person thing, so everyone was still wearing their avatars. Yeah. And like they kind of like fumbled it there, and that led to that Agate's friend dying.
Yeah. What was her name? Spooky Boogie.
Yeah.
Which they over enunciate.
Spooky Boogie.
Yeah. I guess you know how like the Japanese words are, where it's like a foreign word, so they like say it with their.
Like Coca-Cola.
With their you know, aisukrimu, all that.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a little, it takes you out of it a little bit when they pronounce spooky boogie. Yeah. I like that episode in that plot. And then after that it's the school, right?
Yeah, the school with the artist girl. Mm-hmm. Which I feel like that is like really the turning point. From it goes to just singular cases into it's holy shit, it's this big thing, because that's when Kogami finds out that that girl was being controlled. And honestly I think that's probably like leads into like one of my like favorite episodes where Kogami where it's Akane's friend, she gets captured and then they use it to lure Kogami when they were thinking it was used to lure Akane. Mm-hmm. And then like has like that whole hunting battle with that cyborg guy.
Yeah.
Which is then that's like another part of society you barely see is like people are starting to become cyborgs, and yeah, they're not becoming immortal, but it's extending them. Instead of living 80 years, they're living 150. Mm-hmm. Which like they're like reaching like just the pure brain limit.
I was rewatching the cyborg guy. I can't remember his name, but he was like a prominent, you know, political figure or whatever in the town or whatever they're in, and he was like being interviewed by the reporter. I don't know if you remember that. Mm-hmm. And she was talking about like he was trying to like tell people why they should be a cyborg, you know, to extend their life and all this stuff. And he postulated a interesting thought to the reporter, because he was like, "You're a cyborg too, kind of, right?" And she's like, "Well, I don't have, you know, fake arms or legs or a body." But he was like, "Well, every day you wake up, doesn't an AI, you know, tell you what to wear, and it makes your food for you, and it creates these interview questions for you, and it's like, aren't you essentially already a cyborg? But you have an organic body?" And I was like, that's a cool like thing, and it's like, it was making me think about Gen AI, you know, and what's going on right now, a huge topic, in that people like they use it as a way to think for them, right? Some people do, and it's like, is that, you know, aren't you just removing your own self like thought and stuff by, you know, offshooting your thought and your opinions and your work and everything to,
yeah, you have like no impact, like isn't that what people want in life, to have an impact on society?
You're just you're just being shepherded, I guess, by this thing. And two, it's like it goes back into, well, is that who's controlling the AI? Who's, you know, it's the Cybele system, right? So that is going to influence you as a person in whole, which is cool. And that maybe I'll jump ahead a little bit. And that Makishima always talks about like different authors and worlds they created and like philosophical questions they pose, because then it's like, which is a lot better than an AI telling you what you should think, because then it's like, well, there's all these differences of opinion, and you have to kind of, you know, sort through it and find what makes sense to you and what you believe in and stuff.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I mean, and then you realize the cyborg guy is like effed up, because he's like, the only thing that keeps me alive is hunting humans, and the better the prey, or the harder to catch prey, the more I feel alive or something.
And then it goes back to his flashback where like he's like, yeah, the moment I felt most alive is when I was next to my friend and he died right next to me. I realized, you know, my life could have been taken away. It's like, yeah, some people can use that moment for like a real turning point in life. You know, like, I am so blessed for the life I live. Let me go help out. He's like,
yeah, taking it for
granted. I love that feeling, bro. Let me go chase that adrenaline high, which is kind of like crazy.
Yeah.
But to like backtrack, like to you were saying about Makishima, where he goes into, you know, like different authors and stuff, and that's something I've been doing a lot more recently in real life, is like reading, you know, either made up worlds or actually just like going into like the history where people talk about it, because you can learn a lot about, current times based off past times based off if, like that book you told me about, like how a plague affects society, and then that's kind of could be similar today with like how negative things affect people.
Yeah.
And you can kind of better understand the whole.
Right. I mean, at least it gives you a different perspective. Maybe not an understanding, but a different perspective for sure.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Should we dive into? Should we keep going just chronological?
Well, real quick we skipped over the school part a little bit.
Yeah.
But how was they were talking about, so it was the young girl who ended up being the perpetrator, right?
Yeah.
The one who's like setting up the bodies in like the crazy ways. And they were talking about how her dad was like this famous artist, but he like lost control of his mind and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just from, I think it was just from disease or something like that, and how when someone is like disabled like that, they just like discarded and already treated as dead, and so she, like the girl whose father was already basically like in a vegetative state, as a way to get back at society for like discarding him and like forgetting him essentially, right? Because he was like a famous artist, is the one perpetrating these, trying to recreate his art into like actual like
physical art.
Yeah, using the humans and like, which is crazy.
I know, like the one who like has like the hand holding the head up on it. Looked cool, but like, goddamn, seeing that.
Right.
Last thing too about like that school thing is like that showed you that there's no regular schools anymore. I don't know like how the training is done. Like they never really said like how you learn as a child. But I imagine it's just the civil system teaching you the broad things, and then, like that's how they could tell where to put you in society. And like that old school doesn't even use the civil system. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the last of its kind.
Yeah, and this happens later on, but Yo-Yoi, who's one of the enforcers, she talks about how people don't learn about history anymore in the Cyber system, right? They don't want you to know about what happened in Japan before the Cyber system. They don't want you to know other ways of governance, because then the Cyber system is the only way.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into what I was talking about, how it's important to understand like past philosophy, and they've completely removed that.
Right. To control the population, right?
Yeah, which it's just crazy because so many people in this society, they love it. It's like, and you can kind of see that today. Like, ignorance is bliss is a true thing. Like, a lot of people, they're not going to think about the hard things because they want a simple, easy life. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I can even fall victim to it personally. Like,
I do too.
Figuring out what you want to do, your career. It's like, wouldn't it be a lot easier if an AI just picked it for you, and then you wouldn't have to?
Yeah, they know what I'm good at already. Like, that's kind of nice. Like some people spend their whole life never knowing what they're good at.
Right. But then once you actually, like, it sounds nice, but then once you actually do it, I'm sure it's like, well, now I just don't have free will. What if they were wrong, or I want to have different hobbies and stuff like that, and you just don't have that option.
Yeah.
In this world.
Because Yayoi, I really like her background episode where it goes into it, and then it talks about how she's a licensed artist, and like there's unlicensed artists, like where the civil thing, like what you put out isn't good for the world, like it's not gonna have positive influence, like that's just like kind of crazy. So you can kind of like see like there are already some people that try to go against the system in that way, where because they don't have like that free will to produce, which I think was kind of a really cool background on that.
Yeah, they're telling you what kind of art you can release. You can't release anything you want. You can't release something criticizing the civil system.
Yeah, and because the girl, the unlicensed artist that Yo-Yo likes, like her music was cool. Like and like I don't remember the lyrics, but it was like kind of talking about being maybe a little crazy, being like free, and like no, can't have that.
All right, so then after the school part, it's the hunting part, which is like kind of like. There's like phase 1 of the show, which is like them getting up to where, Makishima, they don't know that he's the main, mastermind behind everything. And then now they're starting to realize, okay, it's this guy who was teaching at the school, funnily enough. And they're like, well, then how come we didn't know, his hue should be all messed up, but it's not, right? So now it's that.
Yeah.
That drone guy realized in an actual, well, now if you have a murderer but he doesn't fall victim to his own like I mean, they don't exactly explain why he doesn't have a hue, right? Which is kind of the fun of the show. Like, they don't need to explain everything, right? They leave it up to your kind of interpretation. But why, and they kind of give you examples throughout the later episodes of the possible reasons. And he even says, like, what does he say? I can't remember exactly what Makishima says, but he even says, like, why he thinks he doesn't have a hue, essentially. But
he thinks he's perfect. Like,
is that what it was?
Well, he does. Well, it's like he doesn't see killing as a bad thing. Like, he thinks, like, he so wholeheartedly thinks that people deserve to be free and everything. That, like, a lot of people that kill, they realize they're doing a bad thing, but it feels good to them. He just was, like, so initiated and ingrained in that thought, like, it doesn't even register as bad. It was like, what was it? It was like, was it criminal asymptomatic? What was it? It was asymptomatic something is what they called his disorder. And apparently it was like 1 in a million or so people have that, which is still pretty likely because it definitely seemed like Japan is like fully scaled up a lot more with being able to easily have food production and everything, so it's way easier to make a bigger society, especially with like their advanced buildings and whatnot.
Right, and then we see how Akane's friend gets captured, and Akane and them come and try to save Kogami and her friend, and then Makishima, she points the Dominator at him to try to stop him from killing her friend, but it obviously isn't going to work. So then he's like, you can't let the Cybele system, it's all that free will thing. It's like, you have to have the free will to choose to kill me. The Cybele system won't do it for you, kind of thing. And then she's not able to do it.
Which is crazy too. I don't know if you realize this. So in that scene where Akane is chasing down Makishima after Kogami was already, shot, so he's like passed out, and he's with Masikota, the older enforcer guy, and then Akane is chasing him alone. And then when Makishima has her friend, and she first scanned him, his hue was at like a 30, and then the more he talked about her going into her own destiny and doing her own thing, it literally went to 0.
Oh, did
so,
it?
Like, yeah, so it was like crazy, like how he got even like more like immersiated in his thought,
right? And
it made him seem more perfect.
Yeah,
which was like crazy. And then she doesn't end up. She fucking tries to shoot the goddamn shotgun with one fucking hand. I mean, yeah, she's just going through shock, but that shit was crazy.
Yeah. And then after that, and I mean even though he's like Makishima is like kind of like a psychopath, and that's why he's able to resist the hues or whatever, the Cybele system. It even shows that Akane, who's I actually hadn't even thought about that, but is she like a functioning psychopath, and that's how she's able to keep her hue down, or like a moral psychopath that exists? Because they did like the memory thing on her to see Makishima's face so they could find him, using all their security and stuff. And they're like, oh, well, seeing that traumatic event again could make your hue go cloudy or whatever, but it doesn't with her.
Yeah, which that's like another peek into like that technology where they can literally look for images in your brain. Yeah. And it's like traumatic because it's like trying to like fish in and then like grab it, and that's like traumatic, pulling that memory out. Yeah, and then that's something I want to talk to like Akane is like how she is like almost seemed like probably like as a perfect member of that society, and then that's why like the civil system's trying to use her, because like it talks about when she was talking to her friends how she could have like had almost any job. She could have been she could have worked as a court, to be a judge. She could have done anything, and that's she kind of chose like a lower end position job as working for the MWSP. Which she kind of seem as like a psychopath, because at the end of the show her hue was only at a 24, where I remember like it was starting to get a little cloudy, and then she locked in or something in her own
well, there
thought.
was that one scene between Nobuchika, the head detective, and his dad, who's the enforcer, Tomomi or whatever. And there's that little scene where they're talking on the balcony, and they're talking about Akane, how is she able to not get cloudy, right? Because Tomomi, you learn, also was a detective, but he became cloudy when they switched to the main Cybele system, because he used to like have a revolver and he was like an old time detective.
Yeah.
And he became cloudy because of that, transfer of justice, I guess, to the Cybele system. And he was thinking that Akane doesn't get cloudy because she believes in the Cybele system, right?
Yeah.
And not necessarily that it's a good thing, but it's like a functioning thing that's necessary for how their world works today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She, like, no matter what, she still will see it in a good light, even if she doesn't agree with it.
Right.
Which, like, majority of people, if they found that out, they would just become cloudy and whatnot. It's like, she has doubts in it, yet she still can rely and trust on it. It's kind of, like, crazy how she's, like, such a unique character. Which I ended up loving her, how she, like, ends up becoming just the next main person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited if we go into watching the next 2 seasons with it. So yeah, I guess after the cyborg stuff, it really starts to, I feel like, ramp up where does Ginoza, does he have that talk with the head lady?
Mm-hmm.
Or does it start with the robot people, or the robot heads, the helmet people?
What talk with the lady, with the
Like,
head of the Cybele system lady?
Yeah, where she, like, tells him that there are people like that and that he needs to just deal with it and bring us and keep this under wraps.
Right.
I think that happens first, right? And then we start seeing
Yeah, because they want
people.
him to capture Makishima alive.
Yeah.
And he's not sure why. And we'll find out later, but yeah, and then Makishima's whole plan comes out where they have the people wear the helmets so they could do any crime they want as long as they're near someone else with a non-clouded hue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, that was all crazy, like how it started just breaking down the society and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It showed there was a lot of people that were fucked up. Or I guess can just instantly become fucked up. Like, there were normal people that then started just beating up the bad guys, and then they become clouded.
Because then the whole thing, the Cybele system, who they put all their faith in to protect them, was failing. So then it's like, then that's breaking their worldview as well. So then they're resisting against the resistors.
Yeah.
Kind of
It's
thing.
like, I feel like it was like their first traumatic event that they've ever had in life.
Right.
Because when it showed that the first helmet guy, he's just beating a woman in public, and everyone's just like,
what's happening?
What's that right there?
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that's just like, what the, like.
Yeah. That during that scene, it had one of my favorite quotes in the show, where it was, I don't remember who said it, but they were saying, like, in this society, everyone trusts each other, right? You trust each other to not break the law because, well, if they're walking around, they must not be cloudy, right?
Yeah.
To not do bad things. But in our society today, it's inherent that you distrust people. You distrust strangers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You distrust just random people on the street. I mean, and it's not like you're expecting random people on the street to, do violent things to you, but there's that inherent distrust. But in that society, there's an inherent trust, which is cool. And then when that trust is broken is when people start freaking out and fighting back. And then they're like, well, what do we do? Do we punish all the people who are fighting back, even though it's like self-defense?
Yeah. So that's where it's really breaking down the show. And then it's just crazy. All those people just get discarded because they go into like those therapy chambers, and that's like your permanent living quarters now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you permanently live in the therapy thing. It's like, and it's just crazy how, like, you're just treated like, I don't know, like a lab rat, where it's like, you start getting, your hue starts getting cloudy in your room, and they freaking gas you, and then they all run in their room. It's like, you're fine, stop. Like, it's like, damn.
Yeah. What is the Avatar quote? There is no war in Ba Sing Se. It's like kind of like that.
Yeah.
They're like gaslighting you into thinking that you shouldn't be, traumatized.
What's next in the show?
I think it's the discovery of what the Cybele system is, right?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. So that's when so that's after the helmet people, and then that's when they try to go track him down to that, because that's when they were going to go shut down the the Sybil system. So that's when we find out what the Sybil system actually is.
Yeah.
Which is just those freaking 200 and something brains,
Yeah,
240
something.
brains, which is kind of cool. Like, I love that room. So, you know, it's like at the bottom of that huge tower, it has the room with all the brains, and like they're all getting like plucked and like set to different areas. It like reminds me of like a computer. So it's like they just have like those brains invented a massive computer that then uses their brains as like processing, which is cool because it's like when the brain, they said like when the brain is hooked up, it works like 100 times faster. But then like when each of those brains like go into a cyborg body, it works at a way slower rate. She's like, oh, I'm not plugged in right now, so I'm nowhere near as fast, which is kind of cool. How they like say, you know, like when the brain's not worrying about sensories, like it processes faster than a supercomputer or whatever.
Yeah, it's like that's like a classic villain is like. I mean, you see it in so many things, but like even in like Dark Souls with, or not Dark Souls, with an Elden Ring with the Frenzied Flame, where it's like incorporating everyone into a system. Oh yeah. Where it's incorporating everyone into like a hive mind, or same thing with the Flood and Halo, but those are more like grotesque, right?
Yeah.
This is like, you know, it's all clean and is it different, you know?
Yeah, I would. So then that's when I asked you the question: if you were put into Makishima's place and they asked you to join their immortal legion or whatever, that's what I'm calling it, would you do it?
I mean, like, it's clear like the people who agree to that are like they're not humble people, right? They're not like. I mean, they're psychopaths, right? And that's the point.
They're all people that are like Makishima. Yeah.
Right, that who don't have a cloud to you because they believe so absolutely in their philosophy. But it's like, I'm not that kind of person. Yeah. Like, even if, like... Because who am I to say, to dictate millions of lives? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you probably definitely lose, like, your sense of self when you join it because it kind of becomes a hive mind. So it's like... when you're connected, like how much of your thoughts are actually your own thoughts now? Like you're now in a sea of thoughts. Like
there's this really cool part in one of the Halo books where you're the perspective of one of the people who gets put into the hive mind of the grave mind.
Yeah.
And like all of the clashing thoughts and all that stuff, which is a really cool like idea. And like I wonder if that's what it's kind of like, is like all these brains like thinking, and it's like going at a million, you know, like you were saying, how the brain's hooked up is working so way faster.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't even picture what that would be like. I mean, I get the draw of like knowing the knowledge, you know, that becomes their pleasure. The guy was talking about how like that is. I mean that's the pleasure. It's like understanding more, having the knowledge of the world.
Yeah, and they feel like they're God almost,
right?
Because like they like think they're all thinking. They're like we're pretty much God now.
Yeah.
And so we deserve to keep on doing the system like this because we believe it's right.
Right. And that reminds me of the cyborg guy. He was like saying, "Oh, we should be a more perfect human who lives longer because then we're closer to God." To being godlike.
Yeah,
and
what's the next thing after you're the most advanced species? It's to then become the next thing that dictates the species or whatever. Yeah. I wouldn't join it either. I wouldn't want to lose my sense of self, even if like I have like a mundane life. Cause then like how like they never like say if like those brains that they use do last forever. Maybe that, you know.
Right.
Because it does kind of say like the society's in like that transferring point almost of like old Sybil system versus like completely taken over Sybil system. It's like how wonder like if the brains only last as much as like they said the cyborgs were like 150 years, or have they actually like found a way, like the way they use it, do they actually last forever?
Right.
Because like you're not even truly immortal. But oh, you haven't. There's this really cool anime. It's where they pretty much make people UIs. So instead of an AI, they upload your brain, and then you can like literally like transfer between like internet waves and stuff. So like that was like a thing. Like so people like had like a new perspective on living because you live at 1,000 times faster pace.
Yeah.
definitely would not take living into that system. I wouldn't want to live in this. Like, I wouldn't want to be a brain, but also I don't think I'd want to live in the system, because the system, they talk about how they're an isolated society, and I think you were saying like how it's like anarchy around the other parts of the world.
Yeah, there was just like one sentence where I don't remember who says it. It might have been. I think it might have been the Korean guy. You know how there's the Korean guy who was working with Makishima.
Yeah.
And like, they were talking about how outside Japan, it's like Japan's the only like governed society, only law-abiding society.
Yeah.
So that implies that everywhere else in the future is anarchy. I'm not sure why, but yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I don't think they ever said like what distinct year the show takes place in.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And that's kind of part of it, right? Where we talked about how in schools you don't learn about history. So then it becomes irrelevant what year it is. Right? In a way.
Right? They just write, it's like almost like a before Christ thing. So like maybe it's like when they write their date, it's like October 10th, the 10th year. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Since it's like so fresh, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Shogo, or Makishima, he gets captured, right? And he denies the joining the Cybele system.
Yeah.
Because that it goes against his whole, that goes against his whole philosophy of free will and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then it's funny, the cyborg lady dies, but obviously they just create a new body, and they go and blame Ginoza, like, he escaped because of you guys. And it's like, damn, they're just like blaming everything on them. And they were making him, remember Kagari gets killed by the Cybele system cyborg lady, and they were like, you should go search for him and stuff. And that's when Kogami's like, okay, this isn't doing this by the law or whatever.
Which is crazy. Kogami is so smart. He like instantly realized, he's like, oh yeah, they killed Kagari. Like, that's like, you know what I mean? Like, well, other people weren't thinking that way. I hated that they killed Kagari. Like, I hate that they show his background and everything, and then the next episode he dies.
Yeah.
It's crazy too. It's like, they talk about, it's like they instantly put that Dominator on fucking eliminate mode.
Right.
It's like, damn.
They cheated it. Yeah.
So yeah, after that, then that's when Kogami decides to leave, and he goes back and he sees his super smart friend, which is
professor.
That's crazy that professor is like that smart. It's like he could tell so much about a person from like body language and stuff. It's like, I know there's people out there like that, but bro, it's like on a whole new level. It feels like of being able to. He's like, yeah, I can tell you're holding a gun on you right now. It's like, what? The way you're breathing, like what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then it's just a kind of like a detective part of it where he's trying to figure out what Makishima's next step is. And it's like, well, if he wasn't able to like broadcast what the Cybele system is, right, because the Korean guy failed before he could upload it, so then his next step is, well, let's just destroy the whole society, right?
Which is crazy.
Just take out the food.
He's like, oh yeah, all people are probably gonna die in 10 years. It's like, yeah, society will have a full collapse in 10 years. Which I don't know, like, in the last episode when he's like getting chased by Kogami and is about to die, he like fully goes into his philosophy. It's like fully unveiled that he thinks, that people should, like, people were originated on groupthink and working together. Like, that's how humans were able to evolve, is by working together, and that's the opposite of what the Cybele system now is. It's everyone's independent. So like, he almost has a good point.
Right.
It's like,
that's what makes a good villain.
Yeah. It's like, they have a good point, but they still say like, no.
Right. Well, he still perpetrated atrocities, right, to people Kogami was really close to.
Bro still like to kill people.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like, he took some pleasure in it, right? It wasn't just like a means to an end.
Yeah. So that whole thing where like it's that's when you find out that all food is produced by freaking oat farms. That it's like like Japan is like you have like Tokyo, which is the center, and then you have like a lot of like the farmland. It's like no one even lives in those areas anymore. Like they're completely deserted. That whole area is just automated farming, which is kind of like crazy how they design society that way too. And then going into, and I feel like this is like when Agate really starts to shine, because she like fully takes over as the lead investigator over Ginoza, and it's like shows that she has like the capabilities to match Kogami, because before it was like she's always like Kogami's the top guy even though he's the enforcer, and then it felt like Ginoza was right below that, and then Akane was below all these characters, and like she like fully like shot up to the top, and that's when like Yayoi is like saying like, oh, I didn't think that you had I thought you were just gonna be an ignorant girl or whatever,
right?
You end up being such a cool character. So yeah, the characters, I think the whole cast, I think they did a really good job on all the main characters. I like them all. You have a favorite? I know it's hard. Put you in the spot.
I don't think I really have a favorite. I mean, they all like kind of bounce off of each other, and that's what makes all of them interesting, and is their relationships between each other and stuff.
Yeah. You pick the simple answer. I'll pick Kogami because he's him. he's the wolf. What other? Let me see. Is there any other parts in the show we could dive into? I think we've pretty much gone over all the episodes now.
Right. I mean, you could talk about the ending in that you see Akane is now like the head detective, and Ginoza is an enforcer, and Kogami's still at large. And then there's a new girl who comes in, kind of like exactly how Akane.
Yeah, I love how that like the episode 11 ends, because it ends the exact same way episode 1 began, where they hunt down that killer, the rapist guy or whatever. Because it's raining, it's at night, it shows her show up and she's late, and like, oh, sorry, this is your first mission. And what's kind of weird too is that the girl looks kind of like Akane. Like I don't know if that's like something they just wanted to do in the show, if that's going to lead to something in the next season. But she literally had like the same like brown eyes, almost the same hair, except her hair was long and Akane's was short. So I don't know, I like that. So it's like, like you go into the season thinking, oh, it's Makishima's the enemy, and then it turns into the Sybil system, and then the season ends, it's like they didn't get anywhere in the show. They took care of Makishima, but there's more people like that, so it's like, oh, all it does, like that whole season, all it does is it's showing that the true enemy is probably the Sybil system.
Yeah, there was no like satisfying we did it kind of thing.
No, it's like now it starts, which I love. I love when a show does it. It's like, oh yeah, you watch this whole first season, like now the show is gonna start here. It's like you play freaking Metal Gear Solid for an hour and a half, and then the opening screen shows up. It's like, oh wait, now that was the intro. We're like, holy shit. So the final question I have for it is, would you be in the Sybil Society? Because we were kind of saying, like, we were highlighting goods and bads in it.
Right. I mean, like, you always see, like, the futuristic cities, and you're like, oh, that would be cool to, like, they automatically put your, your clothes on, whatever clothes you want, and they already make your food automatically, and there's there's flying cars and stuff. I mean, not really, but, stuff like that.
Self-automated cars, yeah.
Technology and stuff, but, the show clearly shows you that you don't want this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very.
But it's good for
dystopian.
majority, If you do it, you're most likely probably gonna live a good life. It's like utilitarianism.
Right. How do you define a good life, though? Is it like the AI is choosing, where you should work and who your friends should be, and telling you what you can and can't learn, and you know what I mean?
I'm playing with you. I would say no, of course.
Right.
You almost would want to. It does sound nice to have it taken care of for you, but no.
Right.
I definitely like free will.
Yeah, you don't have to be afraid of, like, theoretically, you wouldn't have to be afraid of some crazy guy with a gun coming into, doing a mass shooting.
Yeah, like you do today.
Right. But, it's not like one's better than the other automatically, but at least you have the ability to, like, protest, and you can choose your own path in life. There's obviously downsides, but
yeah. Any closing thoughts?
So are you gonna keep watching?
I'm down. I really liked we did freaking 50 minutes on this.
Right.
And and it was only 2 of us out because this is the first time we've done just 2 people on a podcast.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was, or I did it with Anthony and Code Geass, which this felt easier because Code Geass is way more just, it's an action show. It's like there's less of like breaking down you can kind of do.
Yeah.
That you can do with this.
Yeah.
I would be down. I really like the show.
Yeah. I mean, at least I'll start it. We'll see if they can, keep it going.
If the story with, keeps
Right.
up. Because I've never really even heard anyone really talk about
Me neither.
the show, and it has 2 more fucking seasons, so.
Right, and a movie or a couple movies as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Well, if you want us to do, bless you, if you want us to do more on this, let us know in the comments. Thank you if you watched this far. You're beautiful. Have a great day.